We gonna keep it in? We're gonna keep it in. Hey, welcome to The Five, where Matthew Larson and I share 5 practical things that we're doing in our businesses today to improve our revenue and our profit. How's it going, Matt?
Oh, it's going amazing. How are you?
Fantastic. Wonderful. I got my giant 4-liter bottle. I'm hydrated. I'm glowing.
Love that. I got a shot collar recently, and every time I have negative self-talk, I just hit myself, and I've never had negative self-talk again.
You is that like a legitimate shot collar?
No,
You're not kidding?
no,
Okay.
no, I'm kidding, but
Would have been pretty cool.
be a good idea, though. Be a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't make a lead magnet. I'm gonna hit people in my communities with one of those. It's a good idea. So what is your MRR? Have you been disappointing us still? Are you growing?
No,
or
it is 145K still. I haven't grown
145K
meaningfully in the last 4 days,
It
unfortunately.
was like 130 something K in 4 days ago, though, wasn't it?
It was 128K last month, and then
Wow.
it was 145K. But on the pod, like on my videos, I talk profit because I don't like how everybody just talks revenue. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all about being honest and transparent and all
Why?
that fun stuff.
I don't get it.
You know, I figure need the
I don't
shock
get it.
collar.
Yeah, I don't. Honest, transparent. Like I don't get it. But whatever. This is the internet. You know
Of
that,
course.
right?
You want to start us off, Matt?
So let's just, I'll start us off, but let's talk tactics. If we're trying to figure out who actually does profit and who's not, like some good ones here. So we go to a dinner, right? Preferably in Dubai, Miami, LA, and like
Okay.
you want to imply that you're paying, but you don't want to like explicitly say you're paying, right? Like this is a sponsored dinner or something, but then like you don't pay, right? And watch everybody's face. We'll see who has money right now and they're expected to pay like that. And I've done this once or twice myself. I picked this up from this guy who does like 75 million a month in affiliate, and it's a very good one. A second one is like a lot of the time when you rent a supercar, like you're like or leasing it, you have a certain miles per month, and it's usually not much. It's usually under 1,000 miles per month, or you're like
Right.
you just can't go over. So we ask like how like far do we drive the supercar, and if like just talk about how far you drive your own supercar and see how they react, because they're gonna know that they can't do it as much as you, right?
Interesting. So
And then
this is specifically to suss out people
yeah,
that are loaded
and like
aren't.
you got to use a mix of these strategies. Realistically, your camera's off if it's not supposed to be.
No problem.
So you got to use a mix of these, and then like another one, you can just talk about your whole life insurance policy. Like if they're not that rich, they won't even know what that is. Like you probably don't even know what that is. And then
it's true. I don't know what that is, Matt.
Please
inform us. Inform me and the rest of our friends here.
Oh, you can. Yeah. No, I'm not going to say that on camera. Like the IRS is always watching. So, and then like you can just using a mixture of these things is how you can suss out who's rich and who's not.
Interesting.
But when you like get a lot of money, in my opinion, you can just kind of tell who has money just by like looking at them. And then everybody has money because you wouldn't find yourself in a situation or place where people wouldn't have money if they were there. You know?
That's a fair point. Like the fire alarms, they're going off every 10 seconds in your apartment.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. So Andrew Tate was right about that. Everyone has money. It's just one of those things. So realistically, let's get into it. So the first thing I've been doing these days is I've been helping transition some of my marketing, like mastermind / growth partner clients from just actually like being an agency who does retainers and crap to actually just selling leads in their niche. Like a lot of them, like I have one in plumbing, I have one in law, I have one in, what's the last one? You could say he does a few, but we'll just call it finance.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like going over the transition because he does everything and generates all these leads for like 8.5 to like 30K a month because these are kind of like bigger companies.
Right.
And that's like good, but he doesn't have to work that hard because he just has a system because he's actually smart, unlike a lot of people who run an agency who are not smart, right? They just have their niche and then it's repeatable over and over and over again. So like if you're looking for niche, something that's, what do they say? Something that's growing, that would be good, not shrinking. Something that has at least 50,000 people in the TAM is what I do at least. It should be easy to contact those people. Like if it's just
scrape
like
leads and whatnot, you can't really do it if there's 100 of them worldwide.
Yeah, or it's like some niches are just very difficult to like find and like to try to contact. Like you're not going to really contact them through ads. You might contact, hard to scrape their cold emails. I don't know, like they don't watch content like a jet broker or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then like they have pain. Like some people just don't have pain. And then some they have money. Like kind of like poor people, right? Because we just can't sell them a lot. It's like
Yeah, of
that's what I
course.
usually advise for the niche. But now like they're getting so good that it's kind of like the bell curve. It's kind of like the midwit meme at the start where we want to do performance only because no one would trust us because we're a pimple face 19-year-olds who like really sounds stupid when they're talking, right? But if it's
Yeah.
no risk, like might as well give it a shot. And then we graduate as we get older and more experienced to the retainers, and you can build a big agency that way. It's no problem. But then when you're so good, you have your niche dialed in your systems. Now it's time to actually just sell the lead. So some people would call this being an affiliate, but a lot of affiliates have done a good job of psyoping people and like don't think affiliate, just think literally performance only agency. And that's going to be the same thing. Like that is what you're doing here. So since then, I only got one real like results because with the law person, because the other ones just have started. But he had like a big agency before. He was doing over $1 million a month with this agency. So it's like not a shit little agency, right? But since then, he's basically taken a lot of those contracts to performance only. And the lawyers were not happy about it, to be clear, like because they are probably making way more just paying him $30K per month than this.
Yeah.
But he's also gone to a bunch of lead aggregators that I introduced him to and that kind of stuff. And now he's selling a lot of these leads. So personal injury leads, like basically he gets a certain cost per lead, but then he gets a percentage of like the case, for example, when that's going to take a while. So I advise him not to do percentage only.
Mhm.
But the average personal injury case in the areas that he operates is $2.4 million. And
To be
he's going to
clear,
get
though,
about 11% of that.
he's making a cut only when the deals, like when the cases
So
themselves
he's
close.
getting paid for the lead no matter what. And that usually covers the cost or
Yeah.
a small profit. And then basically in certain states, it's not every state, but usually like if you work with a lawyer, like if you refer a case to a law firm, and you have to be a lawyer to do this, and he also is a lawyer, which is an important fact of this story, I guess. But like you'll get like 30%, 33%, like whatever you
Yeah, the
like
fee sharing.
negotiate,
Yeah.
the fee sharing. But for him, like he is the lawyer to refer them to the case, so he's going to get a lot of money
Right.
from this, like up to 33%. Normally he's probably going to get about 11% type thing.
Mhm.
But on an average 2.4 million, if he gets like, and he's doing like thousands of leads per day at this point. So like a lot
Right.
because
Yeah, totally.
he has to take the risk, he has to do it. But personal injury, in the industry, they call it like tort. So it's personal injury, like automobile accidents, like anything that someone's like caused you physical or financial harm some way is like the type of lawyer. Like also, he does drunk driving ones, criminal defense, like a real ethical, obviously, but
Mhm.
whatever. He's trying to make money and it's not illegal. So he
To
has
be
gone
a
from
criminal defense lawyer.
yeah, well, it's like unethical in my opinion to like generate leads for so rapists and killers like
All
defend
right. Whoa.
themselves.
All right. Well, I mean, if you
But
put it that way, yeah.
still,
I mean, but
but
there has,
so
there's some nuance there,
the
right?
point of the
Like you
matter
could
is
generate leads
he's
for
gone from
criminals.
$1.1 million per month in 3 months ago, and he's already at $2.6 million per month.
Hmm.
And the difference is he still has his clients, but like the $1.5 million difference is like him generating the leads and selling them. And it's actually has less employees because he just turns up the ad spend. He gets all those points on his Amex credit card, and now he's kind of good to go. The others, I don't know what's going to happen yet because they're too nervous to like change their clients from retainer, which is fine. Like you can just get more clients. But I don't really believe people understand how much of the overall economy is like just people buying leads from like these big sites or aggregators and just cold calling them 1,000 times. Like it's entire industries, like
Wow.
insurance, law, anybody. Like if you ever have a call center, like that's literally what they're doing. They bought leads and their call center is calling them. So it's got to be, I don't know. I would just be making it up, but it's got to be 10% of the economy, maybe more. I don't even know, especially in industries like finance, like all types, debt relief, mortgage, that kind of stuff, law, a lot of like healthcare, like addiction centers and stuff, or like
Yeah.
stem cells, like that kind of stuff. So I just want to share like that result, obviously, to make my sound cool. Like I got this helpless client get this result, but also
Yeah.
if you're that good at what you do, and most people are watching are not, so they don't have to worry about this. This would probably make them less money because they just get new clients and fuck it all up and then churn. But if you're
Very
actually
gracious
good at
to
what
our
you do,
lovely viewers, Matthew
yeah,
Larson.
it's just how it is. If you're like that person, then you can't do this. It would be worse. But if you are that person, you should definitely consider it. You can message me. I'll take a huge percentage to introduce you and set it all up. But let me know.
Conversation I was having with Matt Larson a couple weeks ago in real time. Dude, why is my watch time so much lower than yours? Well, it starts by not calling everybody watching a bunch of fucking morons, Matt.
No, my watch time's higher than yours now.
Oh, is it?
It's fine.
Oh, is it higher now? Okay.
Average view duration. Average.
You've been tracking this pretty relentlessly, I
I
take it.
have been.
All right.
That's all I
Fair
do
enough,
during the
Matt.
day. I actually get a lot of clients who like do 12 million a year or more, like $1 million a month before, like from YouTube before I even meet them.
Interesting.
It's like
Yeah,
actually
yours
pretty
are
good.
definitely super locked in,
Yeah.
on net.
I've got so many more calls from actually just posting long videos that are like case studies now instead of whatever I was doing before. I don't even
That's the way to
remember.
do it. That's the way to do it.
Gotta have it. Average view duration is going way up, but you have like 95. You get 13 times more views per day than me.
The fact that you could
if
just
neither of us
spit out
post.
13 times is
I know.
crazy, man.
Well, I can divide 26,000 by 2,000.
You've been looking at my stats, haven't you?
I can divide 26,000 by 2,000. Takes 1 second.
Right.
It's just
That's
what
cool,
it is. It's just
okay,
what
so
it
listen,
is.
if I could take what you just said and then summarize it for our audience,
Mhm.
it would be essentially that like performance is the end goal of any lead generating agency. That's like the final step in their evolution.
Yeah, I think so. If you if you are generating leads, if you're doing like e-commerce creatives or something, that's not really going to be an option for you. Or it could be. You could run the ads, do the creative yourself. There's this guy Max Finn who has like an agency like that. You could do this in e-commerce too. Like if you're that good at making ad creatives, and that's what you're doing at TikTok Shop. I guess that's organic, not ad creatives. But there's plenty of media buyer affiliates too.
Mm-hmm.
But in my experience, because I'm just know a lot of people in that industry. Like right now, e-commerce is not the best for that. It's like Ozempic and lead gen right now.
Interesting.
So unless you're going to be an Ozempic affiliate who makes your own ads, and even then you got to get them approved because there's so many regulations, not the best. That's just e-commerce in general. That's really why I wanted to sell my e-commerce agency, because it's not like it used to be. It's very difficult for the brand, and that like flows to the service providers.
So much red tape everywhere.
I just like it's actually hard to make it work these days, in my experience.
Yeah, like opinion. The Wild Wild West. Like
when I started my first drop shipping store that was moderately successful, I paid like $3 CPM. It was like 25 cents or $3 cost per acquisition. It was like 25 cents CPM, and now it's like 30, 50, $70 CPM depending on what you're selling, and like huge cost per acquisition.
What do you think?
This is better now, at least. Like people are more talented now because time has gone on, and it's still much better. If you were this talented in like 2017, you literally get purchases for like 1 cent.
What do you think is the equivalent in our generation now, 2025? Like what lead generation approaches are the equivalent of how ridiculously easy it was back in 2017 when you're running that drop shipping, where you can get, a 25 cent CPM? What do you think?
Probably like TikTok Shop is the new one like that. Like you are a creator and you just like TikTok Shop they pay you 20% of all the sales, right?
Yeah.
Like so many people are doing that well. Like of every biz offer, I think that's like the one that's doing the best right now.
Yeah.
Amazon FBA, Shopify, or like drop shipping.
Still.
No. Like those are long gone, in my opinion, for someone who's an absolute beginner to try to do it. I think I think TikTok Shop's the best in my opinion right now. I know a lot of people that I used to go to high school with. Like I see their TikTok Shop accounts, and as far as I know, they're not like entrepreneurs, and they're making
that's a bear signal right there.
Like a lot of like the dumb girls like are actually really good at it, just because they like say it in like how someone would actually think it. Like all these like nerd copywriters and AI are like, this collagen is like has X, Y, and Z, and like or this pre-workout now, and the girl would be like, I don't know. I saw one good example. No, it's like I get this pre-workout to like go hard in the gym so I don't have to turn the lights off with my boyfriend when we're like to get slim. I'm just like, wow,
Jeez.
that's aggressive. You know, like a dude copywriter would probably never even think of that. But like the
Yeah,
girl, like
totally.
those girls do a good job.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think
Yeah.
women make a much larger part of like consumers than most people think.
Yeah, and it just
Honestly,
makes
especially
sense.
stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
fascinating,
So,
man.
so what about you?
Yeah, yeah. One thing that I'm seeing as we continue to record these podcasts is you're typically focused on like tactical business development and stuff.
Oh,
So
you have no idea. That's my next 2 points.
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh boy. But I tend to be focused on like ways that I can make myself work more or better. And I think that that's probably just a reflection of the different places that we are in our businesses, right?
Yeah. One
Like
more
for me,
spiritually advanced.
if I work like an additional, or if I can find a way to like personally produce an additional 10 or 15% output, like my entire company goes up by at least that amount, right? But I think
Mhm.
at your point, and maybe I'm mistaken here. I don't know. Maybe you just like watch YouTube all day or some shit like that, like we were talking about before. Um,
Yeah,
like
fair.
as we were talking about before, being like the failure mode of a lot of entrepreneurs. Uh, I think in your case, you probably have delegated so much of your businesses that like a lot of it is just higher level strategy. You're not necessarily like the bottleneck in that way. Do you think I'm wrong? Be
Yeah,
curious
it's
to hear your
true.
thoughts.
I plan out all of my employees' day. I don't have that many. I have 8.
Yeah,
I plan out
8.
everyone's day every day in a spreadsheet. And
That's really
like,
interesting, dude.
you got
That's
to get
stuff I
it.
want to hear about, man. Like when you say you plan out their day, like what are we talking about here? Are we talking like
Just like
hour
all
by
their
hour?
tasks, all their tasks, and hopefully, and then put them in order of importance.
Do you do like a start a day call, like a stand up plus a retrospective at the end, or how do you
I
structure that?
don't, because like so many of my employees are in Europe, and I'm like sleeping by the time they
I wonder if that's
sucks.
the real hack. Get people in your time zone.
Yeah, that's the real hack. Trust me,
Yeah.
that is the real hack. I would. Oh my god, I've ruined my life trying to do that sometimes.
Like working with
Especially
people in
with like
Asia and
Leo
stuff
and
like that.
1,000 X Leads who's in Australia, it's like 16 hours time difference. Like you just don't even like see each other. You like don't even
Yes.
talk. It's like the exact opposite. Like
I got
5
this.
p.m. I'm getting 5 p.m. I'm getting off the day is like 6 or 7 a.m. for him. He's like waking up.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I'm
It
like
is really
going
different. I
somewhere.
got this guy that I used to work with, actually, this Australian guy. He just reached out to me, and he wanted to set up a call to catch up. And it's like he'll message me at like 1 a.m. being like, "Hey, what's going on, bro? Like, we should chat." And I thought I get it at like 8:30, and then he's just signing off for the day, and I see his little text, his little iMessage go like blank has notifications silenced. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, how
He's
do
a
you
part timer.
organize that? You know what I mean? Very
Yeah,
difficult.
you don't. That's the,
Yeah,
I
very
figured it out for you. You don't.
cool,
So
man.
what are you gonna do? Tell me. Like tell
Yeah,
us, tell everybody. Like
my
not just me.
tactic, no shit, huh? My tactic is about estimating task duration. Okay, you remember we were talking project management a couple days ago? And you were asking me about how like I set up my project management systems, and we were kind of covering a few ways that I think you could set up PM systems. And one big thing that we talked about was that the most important part of project management isn't necessarily the system that you create. It's just like the ability to make sure that everybody in the organization adheres to it, right? Because you could have the most amazing project management tool on planet Earth and be all shiny and shit like that. But if people in your company don't actually use it the way that you want them to, it doesn't really matter. Think about the thousands of like amazing Salesforce setups that I'm sure all these companies have because it's so goddamn complicated. There's so many levels and layers to it. This amazing thing that the company realistically invested several hundreds of thousands of dollars in just lies there decaying slowly, right? Same with like HubSpot and shit.
Mhm.
So, one thing that I appreciate about your content is a lot of the time it's like the 80-20, the 80-20. And, like your task manager, your productivity tool, your project manager basically is literally just a notebook, right?
Mhm.
Do you have it with you?
I do, yeah. You want to
Yeah.
see? I
Yeah,
have it.
yeah. It's literally just that notebook, right? Like
Yeah,
that's what Matt's doing today. He like
it's way better.
crosses it out with a pen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's all that, people that I think are really interested in driving revenue need. So on that note, mine is very similar. I do it digitally. I have a little notepad app called Godspeed, which is pretty great, just because there's a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. But, one thing that I'm finding a lot of the time is I just have like this reluctance to get started with my tasks. Remember last session when we talked about how you want to start with the simplest and easiest thing? So
Yes.
this strategy that I'm about to tell you is basically how I get up and running. What I've been doing in the last week to avoid this. Basically, I estimate task duration. So in your notebook right now, you have a list of tasks with maybe a little checkbox or something like that. What estimating task duration is you literally just look at the thing, you look at the task, and then you estimate how long it'll take you to do. So I don't know. I'm going to open up mine right now. And I'll show you what I got. So my first task is remove 1 second copy sign up from website. This is some administrative tasks that I needed to do. I realistically should have done it like 2 days ago, but it's just some small little admin tasks, a pain in my ass. I've been staring at this thing and it sucks, you know? Like it's this, I got to go like to my GitHub. I got to download a freaking thing. I got to do a bunch of bullshit. But if I just like, add the duration to this, how long is this actually going to take me? Realistically, it's going to take me 15 minutes. So in my little spreadsheet app thing, I have the task and now I have a column called task duration, which is now 15 minutes. How much more likely are you to do a task if you can immediately see how long it's realistically going to take you? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I know that this thing that I've been putting off actually only takes me 3 or 4 minutes, if I go through this process of like categorizing and then like estimating the duration of tasks, I'm so much more likely to do it. I know it sounds simple, but if you guys haven't done something like this before, you included, Matt, like try just estimating the task duration of a bunch of shit you're putting off. It's crazy. You just look at it and you're like, oh, that's 5 minutes. Okay. And sometimes you'll be wrong because, we can't always know exactly how long a task is going to take. But the really interesting thing is my trend line, because I like to time myself on all this stuff, is almost always it will take me less time than I estimated to actually do the thing. So if I say it's going to take me 5 minutes, it actually ends up taking me 3 minutes, right? And in that way, you get better at estimating your own ability to do tasks and whatnot. So massive productivity hack. I mean, the takeaway is just whatever you're using right now. Ideally, it's something simple like a straight to-do list.
I just added it to my to-do list. Okay.
Yeah.
Try it.
Estimate task duration. Oh shit. How long is that going to take, right? That's pretty funny because I totally did that last week. But the second that you have like the amounts, the number of minutes that it will take, like give it a try, for the folks at home, go through it top to bottom, and I guarantee you it's going to be substantially easier to get up and running and actually do the thing that you've probably been putting off for God knows how long. What do you think, Mac?
I'm going to try it because, I have like a bunch of bullshit on my things, like create a resume that I've been not doing for like a week when it's going to take me like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
make
seeing
this
that.
Cross-posting system, like that's going to take realistically 15 minutes. Okay, yeah, I'll give this a go.
Yeah, right? Like you just run through top to bottom, you're like 15 minutes,
Transfer
10 minutes,
money,
all right, I'm
2
just being
minutes.
a little bitch.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I'm going to do that then. So let
for sure.
Let me give this a go.
I think it's a pretty straightforward way to do like task prioritization too. Like, how a lot of the time people say you need some sort of task prioritization scheme. Well, generally, like if you start prioritizing things, this is super high priority, that's low priority. What I find is quickly in any company, everything kind of becomes either high priority or everything becomes kind of low priority, to be honest.
Yeah.
So this is a quick and easy way of just like being a little bit more intentional about it, and then focusing on time, because you're the one that's going to be doing these things. Focusing on time, which is really like the major blocker. And then what the really cool like extra hack is. Once you've done this, sort it based off minimum time to maximum time. So now you're going to have a list of tasks that take 1 minute, 2 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 6 minute, 8 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute. Those are all going to be at the top of your to-do list, right? You're just going to bang those out. And you know how great it feels when you can bang out a task that you've just been looking at for the better part of the last week? That's how you build up momentum. That's how you, stay in the game, essentially.
Right.
So,
yeah. I'm going to try that. Definitely with my employees. Definitely going to try that with my employees. Like,
estimate their task duration as well.
Yeah, I'm going to write this down here because
this is a big hack that Zenpilot talks about.
Really? Yeah, because I probably get like 9 times their workload done, and I just like yell at them sometimes. Like, how could we not do these 36 tasks? Like, what is taking so long? You know what I mean? I don't yell at them like that, but I'm just like, this would take me like 1 hour. When it probably, I know. I probably would, honestly, but that's beside the point.
You know what, though, Matt? Just while we're on the topic, that is a very difficult problem to overcome, and I think that people that are exceptional and quite productive typically have a lot of trouble hiring. Like that probably sounds trivial to you and I, but just to be clear, like if you're really good at what you do, hiring and building a good team is usually difficult because you will measure everybody by your own yardstick, and your yardstick is way longer than everybody else's, right? So
I definitely think people hate me when they work at my companies, but I said like before this, so you started recording that
Yeah.
I said that exactly to you, and I said I think, but a lot of them actually went on to make pretty successful agencies, at least, and like other kind of companies. So
Trial by fire, right? Like
yeah,
that's more or less how it works. Look at all the people that join like Elon Musk's companies and stuff. He works everybody like a freaking dog, and then they end up getting a shit ton done.
yeah.
Very impressive.
I actually will
So
just like rip you to
tough.
shreds, but I'll like glaze you hard as hell if you actually do something good.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
oh
that's
my god,
good.
look at how good
Yeah.
this
So
is.
you're
And then I'd be like, look at
bipolar.
yeah, everyone. This is way better than anything else I've seen. Just put a channel/all. You know, it's fun.
I've always heard. I read a lot of management books back in the day when I thought that I would do management, and I've always stuck by this one principle: it's praise in public and then reprimand in private. So it doesn't sound like you do this, but if somebody does a good job, you basically show them off, and then that's how they kind of like associate, get the dopamine in when they win, because it's like not only does the boss tell you that you're doing a great job, but now everybody else says that you're doing a great job. You get a ton of validation. And then there's also that competitive aspect where oh, I'm better than them because the boss acknowledged me. But if you reprimand somebody, usually that feeling of shame just, I don't know. In my experience, when you reprimand somebody in public, when you tell somebody that they did a bad job in front of a bunch of other people, like there ends up being some level of resentment, I find, which
Yeah,
negatively
of
impacts
course,
working relationships.
of course. 95% of the time, yes, unless they're like super competitive
Yeah,
and like, or if it's like a small group. I would only ever represent someone in front of like one other person that's like
yeah,
in their pod
in
or
their
something.
department, right? Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
and then it's like basically their fault too. Like, why didn't you fucking fix this? You know, both
I
of you
find
just.
swearing at our viewers, swearing at
Yeah,
our staff members. Who
yeah.
else are we going to swear at?
I don't swear in front of my mom.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that'll change eventually.
Yeah, I swear like 3 times in front of my mom, all accidental.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
One time is when
Cool.
the Wi-Fi didn't work in Costa Rica.
Oh, like just a couple weeks ago. That's brutal.
Yeah, that's like the third time I swear in
You
front
probably
of my
felt so bad. You're like immediately like, listen, I'm sorry.
mom. I wanted to, but I didn't out of pride.
Sure words that have
Yeah,
ever been spoken. Huh? How many
yeah.
situations have you wanted to apologize where you're like, all right, well, I can't. I mean, if I do, I'm
I'll
probably
usually
fucking.
actually do it, but if like most of the time, if I apologize to you, that's like we're done forever. That's like me breaking up with you.
Why? Because of the pride? You're like, I can't talk to this person anymore. I
No,
apologize to them.
we're like, oh yeah, you know what, man? Like, I apologize. That was way out of line of me. But that is supposed to be like me saying goodbye forever, and like hoping they can get like their ego fed, so that I could like they don't like
Like
do
depart.
revenge on me or something.
So sorry. I mean, you apologize to me.
When did I do that?
Shit, he remembers.
I
If
don't
you were a
remember that.
reasonable human being, you would have just taken me at face value because apologizing isn't that big of a deal.
No,
But you clearly never apologize. So me telling you, hey, remember that time you apologized to me? You go through your mental fucking Rolodex and you're like,
yeah,
no, I never have.
I never literally apologized to my entire life.
Holy shit,
So
man. That's next level.
yeah,
Wow. Anyway,
thank.
that's me. That's my task.
I'm sorry,
What do
I
you
never
got?
apologize. That's what you got to say.
There we go. Thanks,
I'm
man.
sorry, I never apologize.
Appreciate it. I'm glad you acknowledged that.
So my next thing is setting up sales and appointment setting systems. I have been doing that like so much the last 3 months, and I never really did it personally. Like always have them, but I'm never the one that usually does it because most of my business partners, the successful ones that we had a successful business at least, like they would probably do that kind of stuff. So I was watching Alex Hermosi, I don't know, video clip, short, I don't remember. But he said something that was really good that I wrote down that instead of trying to like get better at sales, try to make it easier to sell
Hmm.
instead. And that
Mhm.
is very, very good for me, in my opinion. And like, cause a lot of the time, once you're probably past 8 sales calls per day, like that's as most you can do. You booked, got to get a closer at some point. And in our case, for selling leads, and usually people buying the leads have real bad sales systems or no sales systems too. Funnily enough, because that's like what they do, which is strange, right? But a lot of those industries are stuck in like the 70s type thing, or we'll
Hmm.
be generous and say they're stuck in the 2000s, so they just don't have anything.
Yeah.
So making it easier to sell because like the any sales rep is not Nick or Matt, like the founder. Like you don't have the face of the brand behind you. You don't have the authority. Like they're going to close half as good as you. So you could either try to train 50 people individually to be better, or you could make it easier to sell, and then 50 people would benefit from it. So I've done 6 different sales systems this week for one of my lead gen offers. So let me just go through. Why not?
Yeah.
So we found that we have our list of leads that we call, like when we're going to follow up or call, like either situation. So let's just say you have 100 leads to do today for your sales team, however many that is. It doesn't really matter. We found that doing a voicemail drop, like a little bit more than an auto dialer, but like kind of the same thing, just goes straight to voicemail, sends a pre-recorded message, right? You know what those are?
Yeah, I do. I used to send a bunch, but these are
Yeah.
wildly illegal in most of the United States. Eh?
Not if they opt in like that.
Okay,
We have
so
like
this is
a
opted in list. Yeah, all right, fair
yeah.
enough.
This is an opted in list.
Yeah.
Like I literally don't contact people who aren't opted in. It's just not
makes
what
sense.
I
I
do.
thought you were talking cold for a sec. Okay.
So it's opt in only. So we'd send a voicemail drop and an SMS and an email, all opted in to be clear, I guess, because that's an important distinction.
Mhm.
Right in the morning, like whatever their local time is, probably doesn't even matter their local time, right? Like so 9 a.m. Eastern time, like, and I actually have a script for it that I had one previously, but I actually ripped this off someone I found on Twitter. I can't even
Oh.
remember who it was, so there's going to be no real shout out here. But
Shout out
it's
to
like
that guy.
it's like some dude who does a bunch of cold calling, but I just like screenshotted it, put it in my group chat. We tried it out, and it was
Right.
better. It was about 30% better than what we did before. So
Wow.
sorry to
Damn.
whoever this is, but so hi name, it's time and date. So like hi Matt, or hi Nick, it's 4:46 on Wednesday p.m. our time. I was calling in relation to you signed up for Scale Your Agency on my website. So I'm not going to
Mhm.
go into too much detail right now. My name is Matt, and I'm calling from scaleyouragency.ai, and I'll call you back at 2 p.m. So they see your phone number, they might listen to it, and the key thing here is that I ripped this off from this guy. I don't even know if it's true, but sounds reasonable. 85% of voicemails are played on voice to text. So we want to make the call as readable in text format as possible.
Right.
And we found that they're 6 times more likely to pick up later in the day if you do this voicemail drop with a text and an email at the start of the day. And that's across like 35,000 leads, I believe,
Wow.
sample size. So it
Yeah.
seems like reasonably. So basically, we've been using something called Phone Burner for that. Sure, there's a lot of them, but that was the first one that I found when I searched in Google. But not really too much thought process around that. And it's worked well for us so far. So that was like system number 1. And the system number 2, because when you're calling these people, like a lot of them will call you back, like especially when you're in certain industries where phone is like very common, like finance, law. Like phone is a lot more common in those industries. Like for those of you who don't do that, like it's more common to get on a phone call with someone than it would ever be to get on a Zoom type thing. So I saw this from Hermosi I'm like just kind of like ripping off these systems and trying them out, to be clear here.
It seems like that's working really well for you, though. Honestly.
It is working really well for me. So let me actually go find his exact email.
Yeah,
because
I'd love to see that.
I'm sure like a lot of these guys who do this professionally know better than me, and that's fine. That's
good
fine.
assumption to make, right? Like,
yeah,
start there, right? You
so
can worry all that
yeah.
shit later, like the iteration.
So basically, and I made it an SOP in Claude. So like basically based on research, what Hermosi said, businesses lose 62% of outbound calls and inbound calls to voicemail, and 89% are lost with standard messages. So I don't know how you could possibly draw that conclusion, but let's just say that's true.
Sure.
So he says basically this is what you should change your voicemail to, because when people call you back in your voicemail, especially if it's a standard voicemail, you're going to get a lot of calls there. So, hi, you've reached business name. We're with a customer, but if you leave your name and number, specific person's name will personally call you back within specific time frame during business hours. And because we made you wait, we'll give you a specific valuable offer just for connecting with us. So leave your message at the beep. So it implies like, you're at the right business. It implies kind of social proof. You're busy right now. Like scarcity. Specific person, like hopefully the business owner or whoever, is going to give you back a specific time frame, and then you're going to get an offer for doing so. Like some things is going to be harder than others. Like we're not going to give you a free mortgage plan because you called back, or insurance plan, but whatever, right? So I actually got some examples here. So hi, like for a fitness center, hi, you've reached Elite Fitness. We're training a client, but Sarah will personally call you back within 15 minutes. Leave your info and we'll give you 2 free sessions just for connecting with us. That's one. For a
Nice.
law firm, hi, you've reached Johnson Legal Services. We're currently assisting clients, but if you leave your name and number, attorney Mark Johnson will personally call you back within 30 minutes during business hours. And because we made you wait, we'll provide you a free 15-minute legal consultation just for phoning us back. So please leave your message after the beep. That one is pretty close to the one that I've put for my client who's selling legal leads. So it's not exactly the same thing, but it's kind of because it's pretty much the same thing. And the final one,
Yeah.
for dental office, hi, you've reached Bright Smile Dental, sorry. We're currently helping patients, but if you leave your contact information, Dr. Lisa will personally call you within 20 minutes. As a thank you for your patience, we'll provide a complimentary teeth whitening with your first appointment.
Right.
Maybe you like to go there if you can get a free teeth whitening, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So like that is basically what that system is. And Hermosi says it works a lot. It seems logical, numbers
Sounds
aside.
like really well.
Yeah. Seems logical. I'm not sure if 62% and where that comes from, but it seems logical. And if it's logical, it's probably good.
Mhm.
And I don't have any results on that yet, but I changed my own personal voicemail. Not that anyone really phones me like that, but this would be really good if you had a local business for sure.
Dude,
But
so
really
businesses
anything.
are so many are so under optimized too. I mean, like
Yeah.
just even the fact that you're saying this person will call you back, let alone you're throwing in some sort of offer or magnet at the end.
Yeah, like they just either don't even have a voicemail or like, I don't know.
Just that nobody calls you back ever. Dude, have you ever like looked for like a marketing agency? Like I'm not back in the very beginning of my business, I wanted to work with a marketing agency. I had no idea what the hell I was getting myself into. So I tried calling like 10. I think 4 got back to me, 5 got back to me. Like the other 5 just didn't.
Yeah. The bar is pretty low.
Yeah.
You know, like that thing that I was going to join that I don't want to say their name that I didn't because I heard it was so bad at the start of the year.
Yeah, no, I know all about
like
that.
I was like still like the sales guy really butchered it on the call. Like I was like there to buy because I honestly don't book a sales call unless I'm going to buy. Like the sales call is pretty pointless for me. Like, but some people want to vet you type thing. Like I understand. And I was probably still going to buy, like even though he butchered the sales call so bad because I have money to spend and I wanted to do it. But he didn't even send me the contract and the payment link for 2 days after. And I was just like,
did you start the call with like, hey man, I want you to know that I'm 100% in. I want to buy. If you were to send me the payment, like right now, I do it.
I didn't, but
okay.
Thank God that I didn't in this case.
Jesus.
So it's just fine. Like, come on. Like I would, if I was, the founder doesn't seem too on top of his business. He's more like skiing instead of working. Like that's another good thing. If you're trying to sell stuff, so stop posting like pictures on Instagram of you in Dubai and you skiing. You know? Like,
yes. Well, very specific locations, Matt. You sure you want to go any further?
That's why I don't post on Instagram. I'm here getting client results. I'm not skiing or enjoying myself.
I mentioned this in the daily update the other day, but that's the thing, right? Like everybody, I had a few people be like, Nick, we'd love a POV, like a day in your life and stuff. And I'm like, the day in my life is me sitting in the exact same place I'm sitting right now, looking at the exact same screen I'm looking at right now for 14 hours. That's it. That's the day in the life.
Exactly.
Like, people that are driving fancy friggin' sports cars or whatever, doing videos of them with all sorts of paid actors and actresses, like that stuff is so incredibly silly. Like one of the reasons why you're capable of attracting high ticket clients on a regular basis is because all they ever see you do is work. They don't see you ski. Right? That's just an immediate bullshit signal to anybody that's kind of in the know, making more than.
Like if you wanna follow me around, watch me get up at like 8 a.m. and walk on the treadmill and then do some push-ups and then walk to Starbucks, walk back, work, go back to Starbucks, walk back, like be my best guest. But it's just like, and then one time another even worse, I hired this guy to do something. I can't even remember. It was like 2022 maybe.
Right.
And then I saw him on Twitter posting, yo, just got my first client, bro. And I'm just like, fuck.
Oh, no, about you?
Right after I paid him. Yo, just got my first client.
Come on,
and then
man.
It went predictably terribly. And I kind of thought that was funny because it was so sad. But whatever.
Listen, like sharing what you're doing is fine. But like, I find that people just, they blend it with lifestyle. It's like lifestyle entrepreneur and lifestyle entrepreneurship. Like that, those two are basically oxymorons if we're real, right? Like
it does really well with like B2C, like people who want to start their own business.
Yes, it does extraordinarily well B2C for sure. Just because, like the masses don't really understand what goes into the day to day of just staring at a screen for 14 hours. Granted, you and I have very particular sorts of businesses. They're not all like that, but you get my point, right?
Right. and I have like 4 other sales systems and appointment setting systems. Probably won't go all of them here, so this is going to be a 2-hour podcast. But the
Yeah.
last one for today is like congruence. And
So
my first mentor.
you're not even gonna ask me about mine, huh? You're just
No,
gonna
you'll go next. You'll go
you're just gonna
next.
steamroll ahead, just
Yeah,
slack.
we'll just
Okay.
go next.
I guess that's what we're doing now, huh, Matt?
No, these are just in my second point here. These are 3 systems in my second point. I still got a
Oh.
whole other point after. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
helping
All right.
you.
Just
I'm
wanted to
helping
make
you.
sure. Yes.
Yeah. And the final one is the congruence. I went over this with one of my growth partner clients. Like, it's just bad. Like, we got to make our add to our landing page, to our VSL, to our opt-in page or landing page, depending on what you do, to our Calendly link, to our type form, to the first thing we tell in the sales calls. The same thing. Like Alex Hormozy's doing this, and I watch too much Alex Hormozy,
Clearly.
but you can never get enough. You can never get enough because he's so right, like 98% of the time.
Yeah.
So it's just good. So if you go to my YouTube, like for people watching, probably not this podcast YouTube because it's not promoting my offer. It's promoting like whatever because there's 2 of us. But if you go to
Here,
my video,
I'll go to your video. Let me increase your average number of daily views by 50%. 1 sec.
Yeah. Why don't you just do that for me? So like the very first line of my description and pinned comment, build an agency funnel that will convert cold traffic and then operate it with my custom AI models. My landing page, build an agency funnel that converts cold traffic and then save 50 hours per week running it with our AI models. Then if you go to the actual sales page, like, because this is a training funnel a little bit, so they opt in on the homepage and now they get the training. Discover how to build an agency funnel that converts cold traffic and run it with AI. And then that's also the first line in the VSL. And then if you book a call there, it's also the description on the Calendly. And then
Right.
I always get on the call like, oh, so what are we trying to do here? Build a funnel that converts cold traffic or what? And they're like, yeah. And then you want to run it? And I'm like, yeah. So it's like start to finish the exact same thing every time. And I just realized I had a typo on one of my landing pages. So I'm discreetly going to fix that. Well, you go.
Sure. That sounds good to me. You'll definitely be giving me your full attention.
Yeah.
Why do you have a bunch of extra spaces in the YouTube description, like extra new lines? Like you have an additional new line between build an agency funnel that convert your cold traffic and then the watch next how I grew my agency from 0 to 900K per month. You have like 2 new lines.
Yeah, I just do that so because if you don't do that, like the second one gets in the first line without clicking see more.
Interesting. And you just want, I guess that makes sense. You just want one thing.
Yeah.
Have you tested this?
No.
Is it for sure better? I mean, like, because you don't have this on all of your videos, to be clear. You have this on some of your videos.
No, I don't know. I don't put too much thought into it. If I put thought into it, it's just lying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good thing to establish right off the bat. Cool, man. Yeah. Sounds good. Mine is, it's another productivity based hack. Essentially it's always on camera. Okay. Always on camera. So what I mean by always on camera is literally just always have your camera on, no matter what. I don't know what kind of camera you got, ZV-10 or something like that.
I do, yes.
Yeah, I figured. I think I just recommended that to Eric the other day, by the way. He was looking to get started with something like that.
I think he said something like that.
Yes. Literally just plug your ZV-10 in to a power source and just have that, like get one of those like chargeable batteries if you don't have the ability to charge the USB.
I have that already.
And you keep it on 24/7.
Okay.
You never turn it off. It's fucking overheats. It's hot as hell, whatever. Just keep it on. In addition, keep your OBS studio on or whatever your main recording medium is. Keep your microphone plugged into your laptop. Keep basically all of your studio lights on. The point that I'm making is the idea is content is so high leverage, especially spoken content. I find right now, like, sure, people can, you can write with a keyboard and that's about it. Right. But like, let's be real for a second. Like who's blogging these days? I mean, I know people are blogging, but like really, is that really what you're going to be doing for the next 5 years? Probably not with all these models coming out. Right. But spoken content is still is very high leverage, and it's also got some staying power, right? So you should do everything possible to minimize the friction involved in creating it. It should be as easy as you literally just pressing a hotkey, and then boom, your whole studio setup is ready. The recording is on. You have all the instances set up. You're talking. Do you know what I mean? You want to make the activation energy required for you to get started with this so abundantly low. And it's specifically because the lower that hurdle that you have to jump, the more content you're going to make. Like human beings, I always talk, I always bring this concept up. So human beings are basically animals, right? If you make something easy for us to do, we're going to do a lot more of it. If you make something hard for us to do, we're going to do a lot less of it. So in my business, and not yours right now, but yours previously, just a few months ago, in my business, the vast overwhelming majority of my income comes from the content that I'm producing. If I can produce 10% more content, you know what that means? I'm going to make at least 10% more money. So if I can just construct my layout in such a way that it becomes just simple and natural for me, instead of writing an email, I record a quick video and send it to somebody or something. Instead of me having to go upstairs to my studio to record my YouTube video, I'm just working in the same place I record my YouTube video. The distance there is one button click. If I can get in the habit of minimizing the friction that much, then I naturally produce substantially more content, which means I naturally make that much more money because my top of funnel is bigger, my content pipeline's always full. And essentially, I've just minimized the distance between me and the thing that makes me the most money constantly.
Mhm.
So just always have it on, man, 24/7. I don't know if you're working in like a studio setup, but that'd be my recommendation for you and anybody else that's watching. Make the thing
yeah.
that you want to do every day just as simple and as natural as humanly possible. You're talking about making sales easy earlier, like make content easy. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I was thinking about doing something like that. So how is your daily update channel doing? And are you going to do other channels too?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure exactly what I'm going to do with those other channels because the reason I like the daily updates. So first of all, let me just take a step back. To answer your question, the daily update channel is doing well. I'm going to hit 3,000 watch hours pretty soon, which means I'm actually going to get to monetize it. And based off
Is
of
it
like the
4,000 or
monetization,
3,000 now?
it's 3,000 now.
Oh, really?
Based off of
Okay.
like the average watch time, the number of views and stuff, like I should realistically be making a few $1,000s a month right off my daily update channel and ad revenue alone. We're not talking about any like the conversions that are happening, the nurtures that I'm doing and stuff. It's crazy. So like I'm going to be able to like
What is your
pay
average views per 24 hours or something right now?
um
I think it's
2,500.
that's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
more than I get on my main channel. It's over.
Yeah, I mean, so it's I
It,
told you it would happen after like
it's over. Well, I knew it was going to happen after like the fourth one you posted. I know how the world works.
yeah,
But
but yeah, so
so
like so it's going really well. And I'm building that daily habit that we talked about where I just post every day and I'm trying to post around the same time, but sometimes I fuck up, but whatever. I try and post around the same time so that I build a habit in the people that are watching so that it's like, oh, like I'm eating lunch. Oh, Nick just posted a new video, right? They eat lunch while watching me. They eat dinner while watching me. They commute to the gym or something while listening to me. I think that that's so undervalued. But that's
right.
basically what I've been trying to do. But the reason why the daily updates channel works is kind of different from this. The reason why it works so well is because I'll spend about 10 minutes doing Q&A.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm doing content specifically for the daily updates channel. And then everything else I'm doing, bro, is just stuff that I was going to do anyway. It's stuff I was going to do anyway. I just recording it this time. So what that means is I get to produce like half an hour to 40 minutes of content. And the total cost on my end, the sunk cost is 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
What would be an example of that you're
So
going to do
the other
anyway?
day, I had to do an outline for my content. So I just did the outline during my daily updates. So I spent the first 10 minutes doing Q&A, just scrolling through and answering questions from people. And then I did some statistics, some tracking like I normally do, like I would have done it either way. And then at the end, I did my outline. So I actually like went through and I created the outline. I was talking out loud as opposed to just thinking, monologuing in my head. So I was a little bit slower, of course, but I was still doing it. And then by the end of it, I finished my strategy, finished the daily update, had a good piece of content that was 40 minutes. Then I also had like an outline for a piece for my next video. So I just got to kill three birds with one stone. Is basically what I'm trying to say, which is pretty dope.
That is pretty dope. So what do you think about other channels? Like if you just wanted to ramp it up, because I have Matthew Larson, like my normal Matthew Larson questions, Matthew Larson clips, Matthew Larson reviews, like where I review client stuff, and then Matthew Larson updates. Because if you're going to review your client stuff, you might as well film it and post it. No.
Yeah, I think you should just be filming and posting basically everything, to be honest. I think I'm going to change the way that all my businesses work so that anytime you get any sort of FaceTime with me, you get it at a discount, but you get it under the understanding that I could clip and post the content. I think I'm
Right.
going to like aim to do that. Sure, there'll be some exceptions to that. Hyper confidential mastermind stuff where people are paying like $4,000 or $5,000 a month for that high ticket offer that I will eventually figure out. But
Unlikely.
yeah,
There's
unlikely.
nothing that's useful that we can high
Nope.
ticket offer.
But
Soon.
you know what I mean, right? Vast
Yeah.
majority of it I want to do on camera because then I just get like the most content out there. I've been more consistent now because I've been tracking all the competitors pretty diligently. I've been more consistent than basically anybody. I'm not growing necessarily the fastest, but I am the most consistent out of everybody now. for 2025.
I'm
So
gonna do that
imagine if I had
tomorrow. That
10x the content.
competitor tracking thing. Look, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
message you after, and then I'll get Lucas to set that up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Lucas should be able to do a pretty good job of that. Yeah, man. So that's my whole thing. Just make it as easy as possible to record and then try and find ways to weave it into your day to minimize the friction, you know?
Right. I understand. I think more videos, like basically what I've been doing is recording 3 videos, like just they're called, it's like question channel. So
Yeah.
I record 3 videos. They're like 5 to 6 minutes long each, where you just like answer a random question. You can get those questions. You can just make them up on your own, I guess, if you wanted to.
Yep. FAQ
You can do
style.
like
Right.
anyone what you want to. So like yesterday, what did I do yesterday? The questions were, how do I come up with content ideas? When do I hire my first operator type person? And then uh, when do I like start running ads? Were my 3 things, because those are like
Mm.
questions you get all the time. Just like answer them 5 minutes, post it, and like I think of those things you can really get. How would you say you really get like a good binge session in? You know, for one person turns into like 10 views at one
Yeah.
session.
Yeah, true. Actually, that's a good point. Do you think it might make sense for me to do Q&A, like the question part somewhere
I'd
else?
probably do a different Q&A one, in my opinion.
Because I think that that's probably the most valuable part of the daily updates. Like everybody feels like they're a part of it, right? They're like, oh, Nick might answer my question today. And then they like jump on. And then,
Yeah, I
most of the
think
time I do eventually.
I actually get a pretty. I've only posted 2, but I've got like a lot of emails and messages so far from my
Hmm.
daily updates, and all I do is talk about what I'm going to do the next day.
Yeah. That's
Because
interesting.
if they follow you and they like struggling, and they care. Like I think
For
they'll
sure.
be interested anyways.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point. Like the strategy caters to a certain group of people. The Q&A will cater to another sort of group of people. So,
Yeah, my first hour posting to my list, which was 4,000 people that I actually sent it to,
mhm.
there was 114 clicks from my email list. Like, so that's like decent, I would say, of people who actually would care about that.
Hey, I finished my newsletter, by the way. I finished my the first couple of emails to the newsletter. I'm hooking it up to my Instagram. So we have
Fine.
23,000 contacts I'm going to try reactivating and converting.
I love that. Finally, you're going to
Yeah.
double your revenue.
Yeah,
Like a
I
real
think
person
so.
here.
It's going to be pretty crazy, dude.
Like a real person here. So my final one is one of the best advice that I got that I do, and I like gatekeep it a little bit, even though it's not revolutionary or anything. But I saw it on a YouTube video like a couple years ago, or a story or LinkedIn post, probably like one of those dumb LinkedIn posts that like, this is how what he did or whatever. Where it's like there's a story about a CEO who took over a company, public company, can't remember.
Right.
He might be, and like people expected him to be so jolly and stuff, and like, I'm ready, I'm here to join the team. And like on the first call, he like started screaming at everybody and wrote down a list of like 30 or 60 or 90 problems with the business. Said every day we're all going to get on a group call until we solved all of these, like one problem per
Jesus.
day.
What
So he
the?
solved one problem per day for 30 days, I believe, in the story. And I think that's like a great thing, like going over once a week and finding all of the different problems with your business. They could be, like you said, 5 minutes and you write down 5 minutes, or they could be huge
Mhm.
systemic problems. But fixing one problem per day, like a lot of time, something's messed up, you get bad feedback from it, and like your clients say it over and over, but you just don't actually get around to it, for
Yes,
better or for worse.
all the time.
So like, yeah. So having a list of all the problems, and I have this on my notebook, I have this on my app. I have 66 different problems about my business right now. And sometimes I'm in the mood to fix a lot of them, but I make it so that we solve at least one of them per day. And you can just kind of see, like, you solve a lot of these problems. The other ones kind of get solved by default sometimes, even if you don't expect it. Like if you solve your email marketing problem or something, like a lot of your sales calls will be better framed. They're more likely to show up. So your close rates
Right.
going up, your close rates, your show rates going up. They're more bought in, so churn becomes less. Like you solve a lot of these problems, and you just kind of do one at a time or more. Well, every 30 days. So I always do it on Sundays, where I will just go and like, especially with your website, if you have an online business, especially with your socials, paid ads, your cold emails, your client feedback, your employees, all that kind of stuff. And then you just have that list, and then you assign. The first thing I do every day is after like going on the treadmill and running and stuff is actually trying to solve these problems, right?
Interesting. You just do, sorry, do you do one a day or how many do
I
you
do
do?
one a day unless it's like really messed up.
Right. Huh.
But today, like my main problem was, you know, WhatsApp is unmanageable with 80 plus mastermind members. So the problem was now, like today, we got everybody to Slack, for example,
Right.
instead, which I'm not super fantastic about because everything has its pros and cons, but it's better than like 80 people messaging me all the time on WhatsApp where it's just me. It's no group. There's no like real history that you can read properly. And there's no interaction with the different community. So like in a lot of way, faster feedback just by switching. There's a community aspect. So they might want to be a part of the community. They might meet other people. So like all these things could combine to reduce churn, get a better client experience, more likely to refer. So solving one of these problems can snowball into multiple different areas type thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's what you should do. Definitely. Like I don't have a high ticket offer. I probably should make one of these. That would be good. I don't have a newsletter. I don't have
No. You're bang
an
on with this,
onboarding
dude.
flow.
The one problem a day thing. I like that because it's incremental but consistent progress to improve your business. I have typically these spurts where I will just lie down on my bed and I'll be like, oh, crap, like I really need to do a bunch of stuff. And I'll grab my laptop and I'll do like 50 of them. I'll do that once every 3 months. And so I make progress, but it's like this.
Right.
But,
you can do a ton of these a day if you would really want to, but it's better if you just keep doing it once a day or even 1, 2, or 3 per day. Some of them are going to be like 5 minutes. Like, doesn't matter that much.
The idea of just setting aside a fixed amount of time to solve a problem. Not even necessarily solve, like ideally you'd solve one problem a day, but it's like, you have like 15 minutes of fires in the morning or something. And you just, I don't know, something like that. Obviously, it's much better to have a task and then to do the entire thing, right? Like do it until it's done. But I feel like
normally if you have employees, you would make them do it, and then you don't have to do it at all. Like, look at my CRM's messed up. CRM's completely messed up. I don't know how our A2P number got rejected. Like a lot of these will turn into actual tasks. Like that is just the inverse of the problem. And then if you do the task, but there's certain stuff like we have no profitable paid ads. Like that's a big problem. And that's not something you put on the to-do list, make profitable ads. So
Can I
now
ask you a question, like a consulting question?
Yeah.
Who's the first person you would hire if you were in my shoes? Like for my own business?
Probably, I have no idea, honestly. It's not really
some sort of executive assistant, some sort of
always an executive assistant.
Person.
I thought you had one.
No, I don't have one.
Making ads for you is going to be pretty tough, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because you don't have enough margin in your business, like because you're going to get like $1,000. Yeah,
97% margin in my business, isn't it?
No, it's not enough AOV or like dollar value.
Oh, I see what you're saying, like the CLV of a client.
You're going to need to, you got to like, you'd make a lot more money if you just did what you're doing, but sold it for like $3,000 for a year upfront one time.
Yeah, totally. Which I will be doing.
Yeah. So like it'd be hard to like grow your business like that. Like the thing that you need to hire is like to manage your high ticket upsell that doesn't exist yet. Or like people hire you to do client work and you hire someone to do that for you.
Yes. Thing. I'm currently doing this referral pass through and it's just not making me any money. I probably have something like $50,000 on the table every month that I'm just saying no to. But to be honest, that's really not that much money in the grand scheme of things. I think something like a newsletter to high ticket nurture funnel thing could probably double revenue and take me no additional time.
Yeah, your newsletter, you should probably be the one to write that, to be honest.
I am. I'm going to write the vast majority.
I've never found someone who can write it even like 70% is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have big problems, right? We had no newsletter. We fixed that problem. We have no high ticket offer. That's like a monster problem. We had no onboarding flow. Big problem. No daily emails that send like day 1 to 180 what you're supposed to be doing today.
Mm-hmm.
No way to collect client proof in a systematic way. Client wins. Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
I've been using this app called Senja. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's not like Trustpilot though.
Right. No search results. Realistically, you have like the top 3 spots and everything else is different. You don't have an executive assistant. You don't have 5 YouTube channels because that's, according to your words, what you need to be doing.
I have way more than 5. I think I have 7 now. Stuff right.
Yeah, I know. Hilarious.
We're way up there,
it's funny, isn't it? I know. It's so funny. No outreach. No partnerships, referrals. Yeah, you have a lot of problems, but who
So
doesn't?
basically, I'm going to have to go through the last 5 minutes of the call and just make all these to-do
No
items.
CRM with these people ranking their revenue. No way to collect revenue when they join, so you know who to upsell and who not to.
Ooh, that's interesting.
You
Wait,
should be doing
you're
that on the
saying
questions. You should be
ask
asking
for them?
membership question.
Yes, but I think I
Like-
do. I think I do ask membership questions, but I don't do anything with it.
Yeah, not doing anything. It's even worse. It's like,
Well, that's pretty interesting. So you're saying collect revenue, 5 to 10K, 25K plus, 100K plus or something, right?
yeah, do
Then segment
multiple
that.
choice so it sorts properly in a CRM. Because a lot of people will put a thing and people don't format it properly, and then it sorts like a disaster in your
And then
CRM.
what? Like it's if somebody's doing 50K, they get like some additional thing with me.
Well, no, you just know to upsell them later. Or if someone's doing like 50K, like
Yeah.
I have this trial for my mastermind. If someone's on the onboarding forms doing over 25K, they get a onboarding call with me personally, and if they don't, they get nothing. And that onboarding call is just to sell them, basically, on why they should join personally.
Makes sense.
Because it's just basically like a paid sales call.
Fair enough.
Stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know what other problems you have without looking at it, but
yeah, fair enough, man. You've given me a lot of these one-offs. They usually come in the form of some text in the middle of the night. They're like, "You should do this." I'm like, why are you thinking about my business at 11:47 p.m.?
Yeah, I know. And you don't even pay. He doesn't even pay for it, and he gets these texts.
I don't need to. I pay in fucking jovial friendship, my man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, we have a lot of problems here. We got to fix them. If I was running your business, it would be at 300K a month.
Yeah, the most like soulless, sad, you whipping people all day.
Yeah, you need to do it. You got to do it.
Rough stuff.
So
man.
yeah, I could run your business. I'll only take 50%. So that's a pretty good deal for you.
Well, to be fair, I'd probably make more money.
You'd probably get a 50% increase because it's going to go from one, but no, I only charge 18% of profit. Don't worry.
Nice. That's a good figures, man.
Hey, I don't even make 20% around here.
Did you just do your last point?
Yeah.
And it's been exactly an hour on this podcast.
It's been an hour and 1 minute now, but yeah.
Dude, that's incredible. Well, the first 45 minutes for both of us trying our hardest not to laugh. I don't know if we'll even keep that.
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild. So this 5-point thing is like consistently coming out to about an hour or so. How cool is that?
Well, I time it. I'm like the general of this podcast. So you're the
right.
Marilyn Monroe of this podcast.
Yeah, that's fucking right. I am. Hey, I just had a realization though.